We are given a task to contrast a short video, and our topic is large intestine is the mechanical and chemical alteration of food that allows the absorption and use of nutrients. First of all, we would like to introduce to you all about the brief introduction on large intestine before we proceed to its process. For your information, the large intestine is the last part of the gastrointestinal tract. Overall, in humans, the large intestine is about 1.5 meters long, which is about 1/5 of the whole length of the gastrointestinal tract. Basically, large intestine can be divided into 3 regions, which include cecum, colon, and also rectum. The ileum of the small intestine is connected directly to the small portion of the large intestine, which is known as the cecum. The cecum is a small pouch which basically plays the role of receiving the digested chyme from the ileum or small intestine to large intestine to cecum, then to ascending colon. The colon made up of the major part of largest intestine. Colon can be divided into 4 segments. This portion along with the chyme travel upward is known as ascending colon. The portion along with the chyme passes horizontally is transverse colon, while descending colon is the colon that travels the chyme along downwards, and this S-shaped section of colon is known as sigmoid colon. The major function of the colon is to absorb water, ions and minerals, and vitamins that have not been absorbed by other parts of body, and to ensure the vital molecules and vitamins have been completely absorbed. The final portion of large intestine is rectum. The rectum is a place to store the feces before excreted out from the body. The walls of rectum can be expanded to fit more feces. After you all have a roughly idea about what is large intestine, now we would like to proceed to the next part, which is the mechanical digestion.
Process called peristalsis, which is a wave-like series of muscular contractions. Peristalsis also aids food propulsion in the large intestine, however it's more sluggish here than what we saw in earlier parts of the digestive tract. Instead of peristalsis as the main form of food propulsion through the large intestine, we see something called mass movements. Mass movements are long, slow-moving but powerful contractile waves that move through the large intestine about 3 or 4 times a day.
Based on the previous explanation, the process in the large intestine involves the mechanical digestion. Now we would like to explain more further about the mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion is simply the aspects of digestion achieved through a mechanism or movement involve 3 basic forms of functional motion, which are peristalsis, alteration, and mass peristalsis. Peristalsis is the rhythmical contraction of the colon that moves the contents along through the length of the colon. Peristalsis is nearly identical to the peristalsis that occurs within the small intestine. The only major variation is the speed. Everything tends to occur at a slower rate in the large intestine. Mass peristalsis. Forcible peristaltic movement of short duration occurring only 3 or 4 times a day, which move the contents of the large intestine from one division to the next, as from the ascending to the transverse colon. It is mediated by a parasympathetic autonomic motor impulse. It is often stimulated by gastric feeling, the gastrocolic reflex. Ostracomy, a slow segmenting movement within the large intestine as each ostral pouch is filled with chyme. The walls contract, which assists in reabsorbing the water added to the chyme by the secretion of the digestive system, and compressing and compacting the remaining waste into feces. After the compaction movement, the chyme or feces is slowly moved forward to the next ostral pouch. It is mediated by parasympathetic autonomic motor impulse. So, how the chemical process in the intestine helps and allow absorption and use of nutrients? The intestines are a key part of the body digestive tract and are responsible for absorbing nutrients from the foods you eat. Although the small intestine is better known for its role in nutrition, the large intestine also absorbs some key nutrients that allow the body to function normally. The small intestine is the main site of nutrient absorption, but some nutrients are absorbed in the large intestine. Large intestine takes about 16 hours to finish up the remaining processes of digestive system. There is no digestive enzyme produced, although some mucus is produced by the goblet cell to lubricate the large intestine. The chemical digestion of food is completed in the small intestine before the chyme reach the large intestine. Here are the main functions of the large intestine. First is absorption of water and electrolyte. Water is essential for the body and more than 90% of the water is being reabsorbed, and the undigested food will be dried out before it turns into feces. It also can absorb electrolytes such as sodium and potassium to regulate blood pressure, and it is important for cellular function. Next is absorption of fibers. Fiber is a form of carbohydrate that remains largely undigested in small intestine and takes longer time to digest. It contains more than 700 forms of healthy bacteria or gut flora, and certain gut flora have enzymes that human cells like to break down polysaccharide, and it also can produce energy. Fermentation also occurs in large intestine, which called saccharolytic fermentation, and produce acetic acid, propionic acid, and butyric acid as the sources of energy and nutrients for humans. Fibers that can be digested include pectin, which can be found in apples and citrus fruit. Next is absorption of vitamins. Bacteria also make vitamins such as B1, B2, B12, and K, and it is an important source of the vitamin if vitamin intake is low. Vitamin K is necessary for blood protein, and if it is not enough, the body will experience bruising and excess bleeding. If the person depends on the vitamin formed by the bacteria, it may develop vitamin deficiency if treated with drugs like antibiotics that can kill common cell bacteria. It also can produce gases such as carbon dioxide and methane. Next is reducing acidity and protecting from infection. Mucosa of large intestine secrete bicarbonates to neutralize the increased acidity, resulting in formation of fatty acids and other digestive components. Mucosal layer act as barriers and protect from microbial infection and invasion. Lastly is producing antibodies. It is important for immunity, particularly appendix in large intestine help produce of antibodies. And aside from against the normal commercial bacteria, these antibodies also can prevent infection by the harmful bacteria. That's all from us. I hope you can enjoy this video. Thank you. Bye.